Welcome, everybody, to Legal Talk. I am your host, John Mitchell. And it's a new year. We're starting the year off great. And I wanted to just remember a couple of days ago, we were all singing, "Should Old Acquaintance Be Forgot and Never Brought to Mind?" I am so glad that our next guest, Ms. Robin Grain, a divorce mediator extraordinaire. I am so glad that she did not forget all about us and we're on her mind still because we are going to have some great information coming up today from Robin. Robin, thank you very much for being with us again today on Legal Talk.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Happy New Year.
Yes, as you as well.
Thank you.
All right, Robin. Well, let's jump right in because I've been told that we have burning questions out there. People are wondering. Inquiring minds want to know. So, how is it that owning a business can affect your child support calculations?
Yeah, that is sort of the mystery for a lot of people. Well, John, it's all about determining income. Child support is exactly what it says. It's intended to be support for the child. And to determine that amount, every state has their own calculations. Sometimes it's even regionalized a little bit. So you're going to need to get familiar with your state's child support calculation. Usually you can find them online. And then you're going to punch in the numbers to get to the income of a small business person. And I only know exactly for Virginia, which is where I run my divorce mediation practice. But it's this way a lot of places too. You're gonna, and this would be good evidence to have in court, whether this is exactly how it's done in your state or not. This is a great way to look at how the courts view income. You're going to take your gross revenue and you're going to subtract from that reasonable business expenses. That's the tricky part. Reasonable will be either what you and your spouse agree is reasonable, or a judge will determine what is reasonable. The end result of that, in other words, gross revenue minus reasonable business expenses, that is your income for a small business. But I'm talking about a pretty small business where you're sort of the chief in charge running the show. So once again, child support is all about income. If you're a business owner, there's always going to be a need to drill down on what is your income, either agreed between you and your spouse or what a judge says it is.
All right, then. Well, let me now throw this little scenario at you and see what we can dig a little deeper and find out. So let's say you've got a business, and we all want our businesses to prosper and produce some profits. Hopefully, knock on wood, fingers crossed, we have some profits in our business. So let's say we reinvest some of that money back into the business because, office equipment, furniture, things wear out, the stuff doesn't last forever. You've got to do advertising if you want to grow. So let's say you reinvest some of that money back into the business. How might that affect things?
Oh, John, that is such a that is such a hard question. So once again, let's look at that formula for what is income in a small business in a divorce. Gross revenue minus reasonable business expenses. So if you are in the middle of a divorce and you replace every piece of furniture in your primary place of business, maybe that wouldn't look so reasonable because it's tainted by the divorce. If you did it 2 years before the divorce, maybe that's fine. So a lot of it depends on timing, and that's a big deal. And once again, we're circled back to sort of what is a reasonable business expense. Also, when it comes to child support, courts are looking to get support to the child. They are not in the business of helping promote the success of a business owning parent. Even though that might not make sense, because if the business owning parent's business goes under, I understand they don't make money. These are government people thinking that they don't want a child to be without money. These are not business consultants. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah, that is some great information. It does make total and complete sense. Yeah. So I guess that reminds me that a person asked me a few years back. They said, John, why do lawyers use the scales? Like, why is that a symbol? I said, well, it's because you're always constantly trying to balance one thing against another. And that is not an easy thing to do sometimes, but that's what we all strive for working within this legal system that we have. So one final question, what kind of documentations would you recommend that people have on hand to be prepared when you're in a situation like this and there's going to be a child support determination made? What kind of documents would you recommend?
Well, if you can sit down and come into mediation, you might be able to reach agreement without a whole lot of documentation. But if you think that you're going to end up in court, or you just want the kind of negotiation that's all just, totally backed up by numbers, which is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just not always necessary. But you're just going to you're just going to grab your basic financials. You're going to want, tax return, profit and loss statement, balance sheet for the last 3 years, maybe to the last 5 years, but with COVID, nothing's normal anymore. All of us, our businesses did weird things during COVID, so it's tricky. If you're sure that you're going to have a good year, your spouse is sure that you're going to have a good year or a bad year, you're going to want to also be prepared with whatever financial information you have to show why you're making a projection of making either less money or more money in the current year. That's all you need. I would be sure to have 3 years. Five is oftentimes requested though, so be prepared for that.
Right. Yeah. That makes total sense. I mean, COVID turned everything upside down, and so if you may include 5 years going back from today, well, maybe things weren't normal during a period of time, and that's going to skew your numbers a little bit. So I think you'd be well served to keep that all that in mind. So that's some wonderful suggestions about documents that folks might want to have on hand. So there you have it, folks. I mean, we are very honored and privileged to have Robin with us on Legal Talk and to be able to go ahead and find out all of this important information, actionable information that you can take and run with. So that is very important stuff, and we really thank Robin for being with us. So Robin, before we shut the segment down, please let us know how can people go ahead and get in touch with you if they want to do so.
Well, two main ways to get in touch with me, and thanks for offering the opportunity, John. You can just call me, 571-220-1998. If I can't pick up the phone right away, I will definitely be getting back to you. Or you can go on my website, Grain with an E, grainmediation.com. You can fill out a contact form, or you can book a free 15-minute consultation.
That is some great information, Robin. And again, I say thanks for being with us. And now I want to go ahead and also thank the audience for being with us. We really appreciate you tuning in. And we will see you next time on Legal Talk.